D. McClung, Artra Monologues. Welcome back. This is April 29, 2020. In about 4 minutes, it'll be April 29. It'll be April 30th, 2020. Just read an article in the channel, what is it? Channel 12, WBOY, Clarksburg, Bridgeport. Alright, now, I know a lot of people don't understand the concepts behind freedom, and they don't understand the concept of, hey, do what you want, as long as you don't hurt any other people, as long as you don't violate the rights of other people. Now, what does that mean? That means don't hurt other people, don't violate other people's rights. If you do that, then that's a crime. If you don't do that, it's not a crime. And oh, by the way, there has to be a victim. A real victim. That means somebody actually has to be violated. Their rights have to be violated. For example, all right, let's just go right into the article. I'll talk about it. Now, some of you are going to get a little, frustrated and a little bamboozled because you don't understand English and you don't understand the law, and you don't understand the ethical codes and principles of freedom that this country is supposed to be founded on and function by. Things have gotten a little crazy lately. I'm not talking about the damn virus. I mean human beings. Just being human beings. In America mostly. It's where I live. It's why I know. Can't tell you what's going on in Swahili land. That's out of my purview. So let's look at the article I just read. And I'll go over it with you. Morgantown man charged after asking for pictures of dirty underwear from teenager. Well, let's see now. It's funny if it wasn't sick. Now, I don't mean what he said. I don't mean some guy asking for somebody, pictures of dirty underwear. I mean, come on. Number one, no crime there because it's just underwear, and clean or otherwise, just underwear. So a picture of underwear is just that. Nothing else. Picture of underwear. Oh, you know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? Listen to me. Don't get hysterical. Don't become all kind of mind fucked up, with your ideas of what, I'm emotional, I'm hysterical, because, some guy, wanted to talk to somebody. And, send me pictures of your underwear. Big deal. Seriously. It's not a crime. Never a crime. Never has been a crime. It's not a crime. And if you think it's a crime, you're an idiot. Fuck you. All right? Seriously. So don't get on my ass because I won't tolerate people attacking me for trying to explain something truthful, logical, factual, realistic, sane, rational to people that hopefully would like to learn those things, like how to think like a rational person, how to think like an intelligent person, like how to think like a logical person. Oh, by the way, being logical is the goal of every human being. Do you follow me so far? Have you turned into an hysterical lunatic yet just by thinking that you imagine you know what I said? That you got it all wrong and you got it all screwed up. It seems to be very common today. If somebody says something, it might be stupid, it might be ridiculous, like Trump saying something, like asking a question in front of a bunch of people about, injecting whatever. So, yeah, I'm not talking about that, but just reminding you, I did. Probably will again, because, I did, and then some idiot says to me, and he just jabbers about something that has nothing to do with what I said. He just goes, Trump said something stupid, and he's an idiot, he's a moron, he's terrible, it's dangerous, blah, blah, blah. And so I said, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that his words, in his language, which is English, He said something, and he very clearly said a question. He didn't say, inject yourself with Clorox. He didn't say drink Clorox. He said, medical people might want to consider, using disinfectant in the fight against the virus thing. Yeah, he asked the question. He did. There's no question. There's no doubt. There's no debate here. He did. He asked the fucking question. He was speculating. I mean, could you do that? Could you check that out? Investigate, maybe do some tests, see if it's possible. Now, he might be an idiot, and what he was suggesting what he's suggesting they do, the only suggestion here was, you're going to check that out? I suggest you might check that out. Maybe. But mostly he was just asking a question like, could you? Could you? Would you? Might that be possible? Could that be an effective thing to do? He wasn't telling anybody to drink bleach. Okay? Forget it. It's not. He didn't say that. And that's my point. Now, the fact he's an idiot and a lunatic and a dumb fuck, stupid fuck, well, he is. So, that's beside the point. And I don't care about that. I care, but not at this point when I'm talking about him asking a question, which is what he did. Now, he comes out and he says, I was just being sarcastic. Well, I guess he doesn't know what that word means. But that's beside the point also. It's not, his excuse for saying is beside the point. He doesn't even know that he was asking a question. Really? He's my age. A little bit older than me, about a few months. 6 months, let's say. And, he's an idiot. Retarded, stupid, dumb fuck, dangerous, weirdo person. But that's not the point. That's not what I'm talking about. You talk about that other stuff all you want. That's fine. Talk about it amongst yourselves, to your friends and neighbors and family, or whatever. I don't care. Go down the street corner and talk about it all you want. That's not the point of what I'm talking about. I don't want to talk about what you're talking about. But here's the problem. When I said what I said, which is true, and then this guy says what he said, which is maybe true as well, but it's totally not what I'm talking about. It has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I don't even want to talk about what he's talking about because it has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. If he wants to talk about what I said, fine, but he didn't. So I said, I don't care. That's not what I'm talking about. So don't talk to me about what you want to talk about because what I said is true. And I said an analysis or an observation of what the man said. And that's all I want to talk about. I don't want to hear any comments otherwise. If it's off topic, then don't talk about it to me here. This is on Quora website. And, I'm like, sorry, but, don't want to talk about that. But I want to talk about what I said. Because that's the point of my comment. Because when I go on and I say something, I'm not saying something that's like, oh yeah, let's talk about this. No. See, it's just like here on the podcast. It's a monologue. So I was giving him a monologue version of my observations and conclusions about that thing, where he suggested, no, he didn't, where he asked a stupid question. Now, granted, it was stupid, but he asked the question. He was asking a question. If you understand English and how English works, words, you put them together, and, at the end there's like a question mark. Yeah, it's a question. Stupid question, maybe, but it's a question, regardless. There is no other. I don't care about him saying something stupid. He did. Maybe he did. Maybe he did. Well, he did. That's true. But the point is, that's not what I'm talking about, and I don't want to talk about that. Let's stick to the subject. Let's focus here. The fact is, he asked a question, or two, or three, or five, or six. I wrote them down on my Quora page when I was talking to the guy. And the point is, he totally ignored what I said and just insisted that whatever he said is more important than what I said, and he wants to have his say and wants to make his point. And I think, yeah, that's fine. You made your point. I acknowledge that. And but that's not what I'm talking about. So basically, he was ignoring what I said and just kept talking about what he was saying. And he insulted me. He insulted me by ignoring what I said. and just keep talking to me. He was talking to me. If he was talking to someone else, that's fine. But if he was talking to me, and he kept talking about what he wanted to say, which was, as true as it may be, not the point of that thread that we were talking about in that. Because I made a comment, and then he has to butt in and say something stupid that has nothing to do with me or what I was saying. Oh, it wasn't stupid. He's probably right, but that's beside the point. It's not what I'm talking about. It's like he was talking about oranges, and I was talking about apples. Or worse yet, maybe he was talking about apples and oranges, and I was talking about pickup trucks. Two different things. Totally irrelevant that he should talk about apples and oranges when I'm talking about pickup trucks. You understand? Okay. So, it's just silly. Just keep talking. No, we're not talking about that anymore. This conversation is over. There's no debate. There's no argument. What I said was a monologue. I was courteous enough to make another statement after that and clarify that what you said is irrelevant. Even though, in fact, I said in one of my comments, I said, if you weren't addressing it to me in this particular thread, I would praise you for what you said. And what you said, I believe it. I agree with you. 100%. You're good. Good to go. But it's nothing to do with what I said. And I explained it to him. And then what did he do? He came back and kept talking about what he said. In other words, totally ignored me, which is insulting and rude. Kept talking about what he wanted to talk about and pretty much insulting me by ignoring what I said. You know, it would have been nice. I acknowledged what he said, and I agreed with what he said. He's an asshole. I mean Trump and so on. Not the guy that I was talking to there on the Quora. But I get the feeling maybe he is an asshole too, but that's that point too. The thing is, I explained it to him again a couple of times, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this. And if you want to talk about that, that's fine. Talk about it to someone else, not me, because I'm not interested. I mean, I've already determined that's true, and that's right, and that's okay, and that's fine. You know, it's just Trump's a freaking moron. What can I tell you? But then, what did he do? He came back and, kept talking about what he said again. Sort of like to the point of redundancy. And I'm like, excuse me? What the hell? If you want to talk about it, go ahead. Talk about it someone else, not me. Because I'm not interested. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm going to talk about me. You see, he said, it's all about me. He's saying, basically, it's all about me and you don't count. I'll just say what I want and you have to listen to me because I want to talk. And what you say is irrelevant. It's insulting and rude, and I told him, that's it. Basically, if he says anything else after that, I'm just going to tell him to fuck off. Because he's being an asshole. Anyhow, and ignorant. And I just despise people like that. Alright, we cool? You got that? So let's go back to my story that I was starting in the beginning. And continue with the thing about the guy who was charged with asking a teenager for, dirty underwear. Now, let's get to the crux of the story here. Okay? Alright, let me read this here. Listen carefully, because here's the problem. A Morgantown man was arrested in Granville after an officer posing as a minor was asked to perform sexually explicit acts and send pictures of dirty underwear. Wait a minute. Did you get that? Did you get it? Did you hear what I said? The man was arrested after a police officer pretended to be a minor. Let that sink in for a second. You hear me? You understand? Did you get it? I'm going to do it one more time. A police officer pretended posed as, pretended to be, in this case, a teenage girl and a 14-year-old girl. This police officer, who was a grown-ass man or woman, we don't have any, I don't know, man, woman, I don't know, pretends to be something he's not. Now, aside from the various other things we'll get to, but one thing is, he's pretending. That means, number one, there was no 14-year-old girl. Didn't exist. So, if you're going to pretend to be a 14-year-old girl and on the internet and talk to the guy, well, you obviously talked to the guy and you enticed him into talking some more, and he did. And I'm not suggesting that the guy's not an idiot for falling for this, but, you know, he did, but that's beside the point, because he didn't commit a crime. We'll get to that in a minute. So I want to make sure you understand what I'm saying here. A police officer committed a crime by pretending to be a 14-year-old girl and enticing this guy to commit a crime, or to, it's not a crime, but enticed him to what? Ask the girl for pictures? Okay, let's get this straight. Photographs are not criminal. There's not a crime. Pictures of nude people are not a crime. Nudity's not a crime. Pictures are not a crime. Pictures are not people. I'll repeat that. Photographs of people are not people. Let me give you an example. A photograph of a tree is not a tree. It's some pixels or colors and shapes and forms on a paper or screen. They're not living people. They're just pictures. You know, magic. It's not real. An illusion. All right. So, dirty underwear. Really? All right. Let me tell you something. If somebody asks you for pictures of your dirty underwear, don't be calling the cops, because that's not a crime. I'm pretty sure that dirty underwear or clean underwear or any other kind of underwear is just underwear. It's not a thing. It's not an act. You know, here's my underwear. You know, whoop-de-doo. You can't turn something in, you know, an article of clothing cannot be turned into an act of criminality. It's impossible. It's against the laws of physics. So, photographs of dirty underwear. Whoop-de-doo, not a crime. I'm telling you it's not a crime. If you disagree with me, you're an idiot. Fuck you. All right, moving on. All right, so let's get back to the pretending part. Okay, let me see if I got this. All right. Officer acting as a 14-year-old girl began an electronic communication with a man from Morgantown, according to the complaint. Okay? Acting as a 14-year-old. Well, number one, that's a crime. He cannot do that. It's a fucking crime. What do they call that? They call that entrapment. Now, you know, there's a reason they don't use the word entrapment anymore in today's legal courses and so on. It's because it was banned. It was made illegal in America. Somewhere back in, I believe, in the 50s, 60s, somewhere in there. It was made illegal. Entrapment is not allowed in America. It's not allowed in any free country, because it's opposed to freedom. It is contradictory to the principles of freedom, and it's a fraud. It's just wrong. Oh, did I mention it was illegal to pretend to be a child or an adolescent, you know, in order to entice somebody to commit a crime, or entice them to do something that's not really a crime, like, you know, ask you, the pretendy fake teenager, to send him some pictures. It's not a crime. By the way, he's basically under arrest for doing what? Talking to someone. Talking to another person on the internet. Talking to someone. Words. He's basically charged with talking to someone. Let's be clear here. He didn't rape anybody. Understand? And the only thing that has to do with this story, anything that could even be remotely considered a crime, is if he actually went somewhere and met the police officer and, raped her. The police officer. Rape you, police officer. Thinking that she was a 14-year-old girl. Yeah, that'd be a pretty good trick to pull that one off. Oh, by the way, Dateline and that guy, what's his name? Chris something or other? Yeah, Dateline. Yeah, that fucker should be in jail. He should be like fucking facing capital punishment for the fucking asshole prick motherfucker that he is. No fascist pig. Anyway, because it's entrapment. Even if it was just done by a television show. Because there's cops involved, and they're aware of it. They know what they were doing. They were knowingly participating in a fraud and entrapment. So Dateline should be under arrest for that, because that's a crime. But seriously. And what did this guy do? Talk to someone on the internet, like on Snapchat or Facebook or some damn place? Really? It's not a crime. He didn't commit a crime. Sorry, did not. Period. Not negotiable, not debatable. We're not going to debate this. You don't agree with me? Like I said before, you're an idiot. Fuck you. All right. Next thing. Hold on here a minute. Gotta take a break. All right, I'm back. All right, I'm going to read some more of this article for you. Pay attention now. Wilson, who believed he was talking to a 14-year-old girl, quotes, this is in quotes, enticed the undercover officer to engage in sexually explicit conduct. Really? So, this guy, who is now under arrest in jail with unreasonable bond, by the way, is charged with something. He's enticed an undercover officer. So he didn't entice a 14-year-old girl at all, did he? Nope, he didn't. And even if that was a crime, which it's not, let me say it again, even if it was a crime, which it is not, what we have here is a police officer enticing this guy. Oh, so somehow or another it's wrong for him to entice a imaginary 14-year-old to engage in sexually explicit conduct. I don't know how you're going to do that on the internet. I mean, I don't think that's even possible. And by the way, sexually explicit conduct is not a crime. Sorry, kiss my ass. So anyway, enticed the undercover officer. So actually, he didn't entice any 14-year-old, so therefore, no victim, no crime. Now, if he was enticing the undercover officer to engage in explicit acts, and the officer is obviously over 18, let me think. Oh yeah, this adult police officer is going to allow herself to be enticed by some guy? Really? So, actually, the police officer enticed him. Nah, the other way around. You see what I'm saying? Police officer's guilty of enticing. Enticing the guy to commit a crime, or at least what these police officers thought it was a crime, but it's not, but they think it is. Because, they just make up shit and say, oh, it's a crime, when in fact it's not. Might make a law, and it might be an infraction of the law, but laws are not necessarily talking about crimes. The crime is rape, murder, assault and battery, theft, thievery, fraud. Oh, wait a minute. This police officer committed fraud. And don't tell me they have a right to do that in order to catch up a bad guy. Because guess what? No, they're not. Because if they hadn't engaged in this enticement of this guy to entice him to ask somebody to do something, then he wouldn't have done it, would he? Because, takes two to tango. So they enticed him to commit a crime, which is not a crime. So they're guilty of enticing him to commit a crime. And that's, again, entrapment. Now let me explain the difference between entrapment and what they call it nowadays. See, since entrapment is declared illegal and unallowed, it's banned in America, not allowed to do it. If you watch TV shows back in the 60s and so on, you probably remember, people saying things about that. Like the character would be like a police officer, and the victim of the police officer, would say, that's entrapment. And, they go to the judge and the judge says, you entrapped him. And the police officer says, yeah. And then the judge would say, case dismissed, because entrapment is not allowed. Because he didn't commit a crime. You convinced him to, maybe commit a crime. So it's your fault. You're the instigator of the crime. You're guilty of the crime. Not him. He's just an idiot that, let that happen to him. So anyway. Understand? Do you understand? Seriously. And if you don't understand, don't call me, call me names and attack me and shit. Or don't say I'm defending rapists because, guess what? You didn't rape anybody. You don't put people in jail for thinking about something. It's not a crime to think. It's not a crime to imagine. And, oh, by the way, it's not a crime to talk to people. Ever. Words are not a crime. I don't care what the state of West Virginia has on its law books. That law, which makes it a crime to do just about anything human, is illegal, invalid, bogus, and, an insult to any intelligent person on the planet. So, West Virginia, criminals. All right. And Title 18 of the United States Law, what is it? United States Criminal Code. Title 18. It's an abomination. It needs to be repealed and gone. History. And whoever voted to pass it should be executed for treason and crimes against humanity. And whoever tries to enforce it should be also arrested, tried, convicted, executed, or at the very least, lose their job and be forced to pay some sort of, retribution to somebody, like their victim. Seriously. Not kidding, and I don't mean I'm not debating this either. So anyway, if you think it's okay to entice people to commit a crime when they weren't going to commit a crime, they were just talking to somebody. Like I said, pictures are not a crime, nudity is not a crime, age is irrelevant. Whoops, another part of that. Oh, by the way, teenagers are not children. They're adolescents. This is a scientific fact. So, if you think a child is 17, you're wrong. It's not debatable. You're wrong. Period. Case closed. End of story. All right. So that's that. Is there anything else we want to talk about here about this case? Let's see. All right. I think I've made myself perfectly clear. Let's see. Nothing really there. Charged with soliciting a minor via computer. Well, guess what? Can't charge him with soliciting a minor when there wasn't a minor. You understand what I'm saying? You can't charge someone with soliciting a minor when there is no minor. And we know there is no minor because the police officer isn't a minor. Well, by the way, minor means someone the fabricated age of 18 there, under someone under that fabricated age of 18. It's made up. Somebody just made it up. There is no such thing. Follow me? All right, so he's being held in the jail on bail set at $75,000. You know what? That's excessive bail, and that's unconstitutional. And even if they had a case, which they don't, should have been let out on his own recognizance, or, at most, a couple $100. $75,000 is ridiculous. He probably doesn't even have $75,000. He probably doesn't even have anything close to $75,000. So basically, they're saying you can't get out. That's against the law. Look at the Constitution. So what I'm saying is, they compound their crimes by setting his bail at some outrageous number. So basically, they put him in prison before he's even been tried and convicted of a crime, which of course they probably will, even though he didn't, because that's the way the legal system works in this country. You're guilty until proven innocent. And then, by that time, you're already convinced everybody in the country that he's guilty of something, when in fact, he wasn't. That's a crime. And that crime should be punishable by at least removing the people from office who did that crime. And I'm personally thinking they should be arrested and charged with a crime and treason and crimes against humanity and stuff of that nature, and and just lock them up forever and just let them die, because they're just scum of the earth. All right, so we get the idea here. I've said my piece. You understand what I'm saying? If you have a problem with what I'm saying, if you have a question, you can, like on YouTube here, you can ask a question if you want, but keep it relevant and be respectful, because I won't tolerate people trying to argue with me. I just won't, because this is a monologue, meaning I talk and you listen. Got that? If you don't know what monologue is, look it up in the dictionary. Even dictionary.com, fake dictionary that it is, will tell you what a monologue is. It's where I talk, you listen, or not. And if you've got this far and you're still listening, that's on you, not me. So, hey. But, like I said, you can ask a question. In the comment section, you can ask a question if it's a valid question, if it's legit, if it actually is relevant to what I'm talking about, and if you're going to accuse me of defending rapists or some damn thing, or pedophiles or some shit, don't. Because I'll fucking delete you in a heartbeat, because I don't tolerate such stupid shit. Alright, like I said, this is an Artra monologue, and I'm done for today, and I think I've made my point on this story, so catch you next time. Until then, it's D. McClung.